would come home from a 8, 9, 10-hour work day and sit down and write for 2 hours because I was passionate and motivated, and I want that back. Hello, my name is Briar. Welcome to my channel. Today I am continuing on in my Finding My Motivation series, where I'm trying to pin down what it is that motivates me to write and how I can find that knowledge, use that knowledge to help me be a more consistent writer, because I've been very inconsistent, especially over the last couple years. Honestly, I could probably pin all of this on the panorama and call it done, but that's not what this is about. Today, I'm going to be looking into where my self-reflection has gotten me to this point since I started trying to pin down what it is that gets me writing and what it is that's stopping me from writing, and a couple of introspective questions that have led me to this part of the journey and where I'm going to be going next. In trying to define the times in my life when I was writing what I felt was a good amount, and I felt good about what I was writing and when I was writing and how I was writing and all of those things, versus now when I feel less good about all of my writing, I started thinking about the question, why am I not writing now? Which is sort of the genesis of this whole project. Is I haven't been as passionate about my writing recently. So what is stopping me? And I realized that I was coming at that question entirely backwards. Instead of looking at what is stopping me from writing now, I need to do a lot of introspection, self-reflection into the past of what was it about 2018, 2019 when I was really into writing, where I wrote hundreds of thousands of words in like a 2-year span and finished several brand new manuscripts, and I was just so passionate and motivated to do my writing all the time. What was driving that passion? What was motivating me to do my writing? And even prior to that, what is it about writing that drew me in the first place? I narrowed in on 3 basic questions that really helped reveal to me what is one of my major sticking points stopping me from pursuing my writing as much in the present versus the past. The first question that I asked myself to try to get into this Genesis mindset of what was driving my passion previously is, why do I write at all? What is it about writing that makes me want to do it? That makes me happy to do it? That is driving me to want to put pen to paper or words to word document and make something with my words, with my writing. And it takes me all the way back to kindergarten, first grade, when I was writing things for the very first time because it was fun. Why was I writing when I was younger? Because it was fun. Because I found joy in reading stories and I wanted to make my own. I wanted to imitate these stories that I was so intrigued by, that I loved so much, and I wanted to write my own stories in these worlds. Basically, I was writing fan fiction when I was in kindergarten, in first grade, and most of it was pictures and misspellings and what have you, but I was writing stories that made me happy. And even as I got older and I started writing in high school, I was writing stories about people who I didn't see in stories who were like me. I was writing stories about kids who were questioning what is romance, and instead of reading stories about people falling in love or whatever, I was writing stories about people falling in love with dragon fighting and with books and things like that, where I was putting myself into different stories instead. And that was something that really motivated me to write, is that I wanted to put myself and my experiences into stories and into magic. And I just wanted to have magical powers. So I wrote stories where characters who were extensions of me got magical powers. That was it. That was what I enjoyed doing. I wrote to entertain myself, to see myself in fiction, and to build up my own understanding of the world. And I did that through writing. So that's where my passion and my love of story started. Is I loved reading and I wanted to be a part of it. So I started writing. And remembering that core identity of who I am, why I identify myself as a writer, that led me into my second core question to get to the heart of my motivation problems, is if I have so much passion and joy and love for writing and entertaining and making story, who am I writing for? And that sounds like a basic question, right? Who are you writing for? It's like one of those questions that you get asked in an English class and you suddenly realize that question doesn't have an easy answer. Because like your gut instinct, my gut instinct when asked, who are you writing for, is me. I'm writing for me. All of my stories, all of my adventure, magic, whatever that I'm putting words to paper, all of that's for me. I'm not writing for awards or money or praise of any kind. Like, that would be nice, but that's not my purpose. That's not the reason I'm writing. The reason I started writing wasn't to be on the New York Times bestsellers list. I started writing because I thought it was fun and it was entertaining and it brought me joy. So the question of who am I writing for, at its core, the answer should honestly for everybody be yourself. You should be writing for you. But it's bigger than that. Because who am I writing for? Yes, I am writing for me because it brings me joy and it gives me fulfillment. But I'm also not only writing with me in mind as the reader. I'm not writing things so that I can go back and read them. I'm writing things so that kids who were in my position can go back and read my stories and they can learn from them and they can understand a different piece of the world through my understanding and my portrayal of it. I'm writing so that other people in the world can expand their understanding through understanding my characters who are extensions of me. I'm writing so that I feel seen and heard, so that I can be seen and heard, so that whatever it is that I am creating isn't just for a void of nothingness and for me to reread in a couple decades when I'm old and want to remember what I was doing in my 20s and 30s. So the simple answer, who are you writing for? I'm writing for me. More complex answer is that I'm writing for people who want to understand me and my experiences, which leads me into my third question and my sticking point in my motivation journey, which is if I'm not writing just for me, just for my joy, just for my enjoyment, if I'm writing for other people, then do I want to share my writing? Do I want to share what I have written with strangers out in the world? And the answer, obviously, is yes. I want to share my writing. I want other people to read it. I want other people to discuss it. I want other people to gain an understanding of people unlike themselves by reading and discussing my writing. That's the dream, right? And answering that question leads me to what has probably been my biggest roadblock since I finished my first draft of my first novel in 2017. And that's, if I want people to read my writing, how? How am I going to share my writing with people to read and understand it? And that is my problem. One of my problems, one of my many problems, is that I do want people to read it. So I do want to have finished copies and finished drafts. But the question becomes, how do I share that? And it's probably me getting 10 steps ahead of myself. But that's going to have to be another video discussing this more in depth, because right now, where I'm at in my journey, in my writing journey, in my motivation for writing journey, I need to focus on, yes, I want to share my writing. The how of it. Am I going to be self-published or traditionally published? Am I going to write and post it for free on Wattpad? Am I going to, how? There's so many options available in this day and age for us to share our writing with the world. And if the ultimate goal of my writing is to share it, I am going to need to tackle all of those options and figure out which one's best for me. So, yeah, that's brought me to where I am right now in my motivation journey, is the first sticking point. And the first sticking point is, how do I share my writing with the world? And why is thinking about that stopping me from writing? And that's going to be a topic for another video. So I'm going to continue interrogating to myself where I am in my projects, where I am in wanting to share those projects, and how I could possibly start looking at that. And I think that's a bigger issue. Definitely not one I'm prepared to talk about today, because even thinking about it is overwhelming and intense and scary. So this channel is me sharing my journey, and my journey right now is overwhelmed and scared. And that's definitely something that's stopping me from writing. So in my next video, I'm going to go through my projects and look at why this question of sharing my work is stopping me from writing, and see if I can create some ways to overcome that fear in order to rediscover my passion and motivation to write for myself and for fun. And that's all I have for today. It's not a great end, because I'm in the middle of this journey and I am still uncovering all the many questions that I have, but that's where I am, and that's the honest truth. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you will like, subscribe, leave me any sort of comment about where you are in your journey. Are these questions helpful to you? Is this something that you have done before in the past? Or I don't know. I'm curious about other people's journeys and where they are, because I did so much writing in the past 15 years, and this is definitely a sticking point for me, is sharing that writing and what to write to share and how to even contemplate it. It's overwhelming. So I'm going to leave you here and check in later with the next steps in my rediscovering my motivation journey. And hopefully next time we'll have a more positive note to end on rather than fear and overwhelm. But that's where I'm at right now, so that's what I'm sharing. Yep, I don't know when the next video is going to come out. I am in the process of moving. Things are in transition right now, so this channel's not probably going to have a regular uploading schedule. We're going to work with what we got. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.